You know, did you hear, did you see this show is a Netflix series that only has 4 shows on it. And I was like, oh my God. And it's called The Worst Ex Ever. The Worst Ex Ever. And I was just like, you think you had a bad ex. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, sorry. But this show is crazy. And then it shows how the system, because I'm suing the fucking Bronx, the Bronx Supreme Courthouse. I'm suing them, the entire unified court system, and the entire system is just corrupt. And then it shows you how corrupt the system is. Even if you're saying what the problem is, what the issue is, you're giving them proof, you're giving them everything, you're telling them what the issue is, and they don't listen to you. They don't listen to you until someone dies. And then when someone dies, they're like, oh, it was this person, or oh, and it just shows like how this justice system fails these people. Like this woman was in jail for 7 months. 7 months in jail for crimes that she did not commit, because somebody was like an informant for the police. So he had all these kind of connections, and he's the ex, and he set her up, paid people off to say that she robbed them, and she never did none of that. And I was just like, wow, it is how somebody can just go and ruin your entire life because they're mad at you. They're mad because you don't want to be with them. They're mad because, they mad at whatever they mad at. And the guy was married with 2 kids with somebody else, and then he's mad at this one because she didn't want to be with him. It's crazy. But then the shit that they do, and then it's on the news, then it's in the papers. They made a documentary, and I'm like, oh my God. There was another one. This guy, it's just crazy. You have to watch the show. Like, I don't know. It's about exes. It's about terrible exes, and the last one was a woman. She was a woman, and she tortured this man, killed the grandmother off, and then they had a baby, and she wanted the baby, and she did whatever, and it was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. So you think the men crazy, the women just as crazy. The women just as crazy. So I was just like, wow. And then it's like you hear things, or you go through things, and you're lucky that you got away from the situation, because it can get crazy, and you may think that you're the only one with a crazy ex. No, there's a lot of people out there that are just evil. They're just evil. They believe their own lies. They don't take accountability for nothing. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, you just thank God that you got away from them, and you don't have to be bothered with them ever again. The documentary is called The Worst Ex Ever. Or, yeah, it's The Worst Ex Ever. It's so crazy. It's court system, it's police documents, and then there are murders behind it. So it's just like, oh my God. The person lived, but they were traumatized after the fact. Traumatized, tortured. Others were murdered. Other people were murdered behind. And it's a mess. And to see how elaborate the schemes were. Like, they planned, they plotted, they premeditated these murders. They premeditated how to do the crime. And it's just like, oh my God. So you think that you're going through some shit with someone, and they could be doing the same thing, planning, plotting, premeditating plots, and it's just like, oh my God, like, this shit really happens in real life. Like, and people go to jail. People go to jail because of the crimes that they're committing, and they think that they're not committing a crime. They think that it's okay to behave this way and to treat a person this way, to want to kill a person. That it's a crime. It's a fucking crime. And then it's a crime. It's just worse when you don't say anything. A lot of the time, people don't say anything. They go back to the person that was beating their ass. You go back to it. Then they go and they beat your ass again. But worse. Worse than the first time. And then you never made a complaint. So then there's no complaint on file. There's no record. So and then how are they gonna like put it together? It's like whenever an incident happens, you have to say something because that's the only way it's gonna cover yourself. That's with crimes. Whenever something is happening, you have to say something. You can't sit there and hide information because you don't want to tell on the person. You feel bad. Fuck your feelings. No, because and then something's gonna happen and then it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse. I don't know. But check out The Worst Ex Ever on Netflix. I was like, oh my God. And I don't watch TV. I'm sitting there like watching it with my daughter because she wanted to watch it. Because these exes are crazy. Exes are crazy. This one ex, he got all this debt, $100,000 in debt, all this kind of debt, and then, oh, I want to marry you, oh, I want to be with you, and I'm like, what? Like, what? And you got all these problems, all these debt, and I'm gonna want to be with you, and you got all this shit going on, and I'm gonna want to be with you? Like, no, I had to, what is that? Block everything. I was like, you can never go backwards because then when you go backwards, it's always worse than when you originally left. I'm like, oh, hell no. Not picking up nobody debt, nobody karma, nobody nothing. Like, get away from me. Moving forward, new life. I know I'm talking about this stuff and I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. What was it? The Worst Ex Ever. You have to watch it. It's on Netflix. It only has 4 episodes. 4 episodes? Yeah, and it's a series. It just came out. It's like an hour. Each episode is like an hour, but it's a story about how it all came about, you know? And I know I'm gonna go into the return of senders. Keep doing your return of senders. Just get you some tea nights. Get you some tea nights and do some return of senders. I'm gonna just make another video for the return of senders. But check out, what's that documentary? The Worst Ex Ever. And then it just made me think about all the shit that I'm filing against the Bronx Supreme Courthouse. Like, they had the courthouses, they had the trials, they had the judges, they had all this shit. And I'm like, wow, like, what if they do a documentary about my case, Paulina Garcia versus the Bronx Supreme Court, the entire unified court system? Like, what if they do that? I was like, because there's so much shit, it's so much corruption, and nobody does anything. And it's just like, oh my God, like nobody's gonna do anything. Like, nobody is gonna actually do their job. Like, nobody is gonna care. Like, what has to happen for someone to do something? And then it's been so much corruption already. I resigned. Nobody ever did anything, and it's still going on. No one fucking cares. And it's just like, oh my God. What else? Leave with love. Stay positive. Vibe high. And check out the documentary of The Worst Ex Ever on Netflix. Bye. Oh, happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Live with love. Bye.